Hello everyone and welcome back to Next Gen Competition. We are here at the Watkins Glen Raceway for round 13 of Season 6 here in Project IndyCar for the Formula Icon GP there as practice comes to an end with a spin for Adam Richardson. We're back after a few weeks away for the Christmas break, or the winter break, depending on if you celebrate or not. But a few weeks off has, been a nice break I think for everyone, and especially as just before, of course, we weren't able to have streams for the two races before the break, sadly, so you may well have missed quite a bit in the meantime since then as we're watching carnage unfold in front of us. So, if you are wondering, well, what's happened? It was a long time ago. Of course, we missed those two races as well. They did happen, just no streams, sadly. If you're wondering, well, what's happened recently? I'll bring you back up to speed with who won the last three races of the season. So let's go all the way back to round 10, the last race that was streamed. That was won by Adam Richardson. That was Sonoma, with some rain playing a part in that weekend. He finished ahead of his teammate, Adam Liu. Then, the week after that, the first race without stream, it was Aston Lewis who took victory at, I want to say, the Daytona Speedway, ahead of Evan Dalton. And then in third place, it was Adam Richardson again. As then we come to the most recent race before the break that we just went through. The last winner before now was Thomas Pierpont, who won at the Daytona Road Course after a penalty for the person who finished first on track. And behind Thomas it was Evan Dalton, and then in third place it was Tyler Davison, which means as we come back from the break, our championship standings are looking a bit like this. It is Aston Lewis, the driver who isn't actually attending today because he's not been able to make it, sadly. But it's Aston Lewis who leads the championship ahead of Evan Dalton by just 2 points. So today, Evan Dalton will most likely take the championship lead. Adam Richardson sits third in the championship. He is just 27 points off the lead, very much still in this. With Adam Liu sitting in fourth, last of the realistic contenders. He was 54 points coming off the lead coming into this race, but he's racing today. The leader isn't. So if Evan Dalton doesn't have a great day, then there's a good chance the championship will close up quite a lot. But Adam Liu will have to be pushing for that victory, and well, several of them towards the end of the season with just a few races left. After this one, there are just there's just another 5 more rounds. Forgot about the extended season. So we'll have round 13 here, and then another 5 races. So Adam Liu is going to have to really put in a strong end of the season. As we see now, this is Evan Dalton making his way through the final couple of corners, trying to put a strong end to this lap as he prepares to start his qualifying session. We are a minute and a half in already. Not too much has been missed as outlaps take place, although this track, of course, being the Watkins Glen short circuit as we started the season on the Grand Prix layout. Here at the short circuit, it means a very short lap time, a 38 lap race ahead of us, with the weather forecast, as you can see, quite cloudy, and with a very high likelihood of rain to strike near the end of the race. We're not sure realistically exactly when, as we see Evan Dalton have a big snap on his lap, and he's hit the wall twice. Big moment there for Evan Dalton. He goes around on the exit on that very tricky bus stop chicane. He fires it back up, and will roll down through the carousel and back towards the final couple of corners now. That's not what Evan Dalton needed though. So he makes his way back down as he's got a teammate now behind him who's going to have to let through, just to make sure there's no incident there. Doesn't want to hold up his teammate of all people. As the first laps are coming in, and currently it is Adam Richardson who sits at the top of the times. But can Tyler Davison jump up into that mix? 3 times on the board so far, one of which looking very competitive, 2 of which looking somewhat competitive, and Tyler Davison straight up in there. Just 2 attempts off the pole position time on his first attempt. He's got a lot more chances to have a go at this, but still 2 attempts is the gap there, as Evan Dalton will now be trying to set a lap behind him now as Thomas Pierpont with a 1-place grid penalty comes across the line, and he goes up into 4th place. Not the best of laps for him there. Next on the racetrack, I believe, is Adam Richardson as he makes his way through the final corner now. He is currently on provisional pole, looking to try and improve that lap time. Very short lap here, so he hasn't got long to wait. Across the line he comes, and he does improve by a 10th and a 3rd. Next across the line will be, let's try and find out who. It'll be Scott Sandover who jumps up into the 3rd position, and then it'll be another car, which I believe may be Adam Liu in that mix. It is indeed Adam Liu, and then Niall Karen is the third of this group of 3 cars that are all packed up together. Then next on the road, I believe, is it Evan Dalton next? I think it might be. It is Evan Dalton. He comes out of the final corner after a mistake on his first lap. Where is this lap going to put him only into 6th place? 5 seconds off the pace, so another mistake perhaps here from Evan Dalton. He throws his car into turn 1. Tyler Davison starting a lap just behind him now. He builds up. As then we see Thomas Pierpont. He's jumped up a huge amount there, up into 3rd place. Still over a second off pole though. At the moment, at a short track like this, that is a lot of time to find. But as I say, like, you know, there's some really high commitment corners here where just the little bit of nervousness and just that moment of just going, screw it, I'm going to go flat out. And that sort of mindset, all of a sudden, you find yourself finding that second out of nowhere. As we see already, Thomas is up a 10th on this lap after just realistically 1 corner. As he now makes his way through the bus stop chicane. That's one of the parts of the track which is so high commitment. And now out of the carousel, you've got to be so fast through there. Get it out on the exit and keep it flat all the way down this straightaway. And now into a kink to the left. I say kink, it's quite the turn. 90 degrees to the left. Almost, and then 90 degrees to the right, just over. He clips the car on the inside, that won't help us. Tyler Davison's gone to the top. And I believe Thomas may well have abused track limits on the exit of that final corner. And although no, apparently he didn't. His lap time does improve. But Tyler Davison, he's at the top of the times now, ahead of Adam Richardson and then Evan Dalton now, sitting in 3rd place as some drivers trying some different tactics here to try and get laps in. Scott Sandover, he's right behind Niall Karen. He makes his way towards the final couple of corners. Just a little lift through these 2 final corners. High commitment, high downforce, you need it. Really where the car shows itself as into the wall. Goes Scott Sandover, and immediately he pulls straight across the track and into the pit lane. Probably a wise choice there. Wasn't going to improve after that final corner. But that was an example of what happens when you follow a car through those corners. This track, expect to see a slightly unusual race in the sense that overtaking won't be common. It's going to be really hard to follow. It's going to be Formula 1 levels of dirty air realistically here today. So don't be surprised when that is the case. As Tyler Davison has just improved again as Evan Dalton spins in turn 1. He's going to have to roll offline there as Tyler Davison now comes through, followed by Adam Richardson, who dives down into turn 1. Who narrowly avoids the back of Evan there. But this track, all high-speed corners around here pretty much. Except for maybe turn 1, but even then it's a medium speed corner. I don't think it's sort of slow to medium, I'd say, the slowest corner on this track. The rest are all high speed corners here. And in high-speed corners, what do you need? Downforce. And what do you not have when you're closely following another car? And by closely, I mean within a second of it, realistically. Downforce, simple as that. So you really have to capitalise on other drivers' mistakes around here to get that chance to overtake. You have to just sit at that 1 second and then hope they make a mistake, basically, because you have to have a huge pace advantage to be able to cut into that. Now, speaking of a pace advantage, currently improving on his lap is Adam Richardson as he chucks the car into the final corner. Full commitment, no holding back here. With just 3 minutes and a half left in the session, Adam Richardson, he jumps up into 2nd, 10th off pole position. He's still got some time to find though. As you look back, Tyler Davison, he's off down at turn 1. He's not improving. Evan Dalton is about to start another lap for him. He's not had the best of luck so far in this qualifying session. Sitting 3rd, though. 100th ahead of Adam Liu, sitting in the 4th position. Evan Dalton out of turn 1 now, using all the road. Was that too much? After wait and see as he keeps it flat, coming up through the S section here. The S is very tricky. You want to keep it in 5th gear because the camera doesn't do it justice. Very steeply uphill through there. You gear up into 6th as soon as you start to hit the rev limiter, and you bog down because the uphill part of that track just doesn't allow you to get the revs in the car, and it does just bog down. As now we see Evan Dalton chucking the car into the bus stop here, full commitment, using as much as the curbs as the car will allow. And now throwing it into the carousel, just trying to run it across the line, but he goes a little bit wide. Just pushed it a bit too hard there perhaps, and does indeed get a slowdown penalty, which he won't want to take into the final sector, because if he does, he may well get a next lap time invalid. A little message problem on the screen now. Adam Richardson now cuts that gap to pole down to just 3.5 hundredths of a second. It's getting very exciting coming into this session. Adam Liu, whereas he's just coming out of turn 1 as well. Got lots of drivers here. Evan Dalton, he's just finishing the lap. He's still yet to improve on that attempt. All these drivers making their way around this racetrack, trying to get those laps in. They get so many attempts, you'd think it's easy. But instead of the amount of attempts you get is the amount of attempts you need to be able to just set a clean lap around here, because it's such a short lap, you think it must be easy, but every single corner here, and I really mean every single corner, is a corner that has to be full commitment, and equally has to be very sort of careful on track limits. But if you're too careful, you might as well just not try, because you're going to be slow. It's that balance that these drivers have to fight with, and, well, they can't be careful, which means occasionally they will cross the line on the track limits and end up getting a slowdown. As we see, Adam Richardson jumps to the top of the times, 2 tenths clear of Tyler Davison. What can Tyler do? Can he respond? He throws his car at high speed into the final couple of corners now. Look at the speeds, 5th gear through the final corner. Look at the throttle trace. So high speed through here. Across the line, Tyler Davison. He improves, but not by enough. He gets the gap under 2 tenths, but he's got 2 more attempts here at getting this pole position back. And you see there, he's pushing as hard as he can. Next driver across the line, who will that be? We've got Thomas Pierpont, he's just crossed the line. He has got 2 more attempts as well. Next driver to cross the line will be Niall Caron. He will also get 2 more attempts, assuming he doesn't have a spin on this lap, which means now everyone is on their penultimate attempt at a flying lap here. So let's look, where is everyone in the field? Here we have the first driver to complete their penultimate lap. It is Adam Liu out of the final corner now. Got a couple of cars right behind him. Adam Liu across the line. Where will this lap put him? Not good enough. He is just ahead there of the car of, I believe that is Adam Richardson. It is indeed Adam Richardson. Still right behind him then. Where's Tyler Davison? Tyler Davison's quite a way back. How's his lap coming along? And where is his teammate Evan Dalton? Evan Dalton already come across the line to start his final lap of the session, so pressure's on now. Second in the championship, just 2 points off the lead. His main rival isn't racing here today. It's a great chance to capitalise. Davison not able to improve though. Let's watch now. Evan Dalton on perhaps a crucial lap here in this session. Currently sitting third, just under 6 tenths off a pole. Going to need a big improvement to try and improve that position, but equally has to be careful that he doesn't lose a position to the cars behind him, because it's quite close there. He goes wide, he spins it through the bus stop chicane. Into the wall goes Evan Dalton. He will not be able to improve on his lap time, which means as we look up towards the front of the field, it is Adam Liu who'll be the final car, the first car, to finish their final lap. Adam Liu out of the final corner across the line. Where's it going to be? It's P3, does jump heaven. As Adam Richardson, he can't improve. Tyler Davison now, he's the next person to look out for. He's heading towards the penultimate corner now, down the backstretch. And high speed in, 6th gear. Look at the throttle. It's unbelievable speeds these cars can carry. As now, on this nice light fuel load, he throws it through the final corner. What will it be for Tyler Davison? Can he take this pole position back across the line? He can't. He doesn't improve. That's his chance at pole gone. His final lap did not bear fruit. As you look now, who will be the last car to cross the line? It will be, I believe, maybe Niall Caron. It will be Niall Caron indeed, who makes his way through the final corner now. Currently, bottom of the times, he is half a second off the next highest car, but that car ahead of him does have a grid penalty, so even getting that position would not make a difference. But that is it. Qualifying is over. And Adam Richardson, one of the best qualifiers in the field, gets pole position here by nearly 2 tenths of a second, which around a short circuit like this is no mean feat. Second on the grid, joining him on the front row will be Tyler Davison, one of the drivers who's had an inconsistent season. He's had brilliant pace all season long, but a few missed races here and there, and some bad luck as well chucked into the mix, has led him to perhaps not have the result that he deserves, and he's further down the championship than he should be. But he starts second on the grid. Chance here for him to finally break that duck and get back into victory lane. He hasn't won since Season 1, Round 2. Admittedly, for a lot of that time he wasn't racing, or at least in Project IndyCar he wasn't racing. But since Season 1, Round 2, he has not won a race here, and well, with each race that goes by, he seems to get closer and closer. Second row, Adam Liu and Evan Dalton. Third row, Scott Sandover and Niall Caron with the final place on the grid, taken up with Thomas Pierpont, the winner last time out, not having the best of days here. But still, 38 laps to come. It's a long way to go. Let's go to it now. Let's get ready for the Formula Icon Grand Prix of Watkins Glen. The skies are blue, not many clouds to be seen. The cars are on the grid, and they're getting ready now to begin the Grand Prix here, the Formula Icon Grand Prix of Watkins Glen. You can see the cars just making their last preparations for this race. 7 cars on the grid, getting ready for what could be a crucial race in this championship. Aston Lewis not here. Will that be a crucial error in his championship challenge to not be able to show up to this race? Or will he make it work anyway? Not long to go. Adam Richardson has had some good form recently, but equally has made some errors in recent races. Twice this season he's lost victories because of a post-race penalty. Starting from pole today, if he can stay there, he won't have to worry about racing anyone and he'll be nice and safe, but lap 1, turn 1 can always be a tricky situation. The cars are making their final preparations, the lights are coming on, the revs are rising, and we are racing in the Formula Icon Grand Prix, and it's a good start straight away from Adam Richardson, who pulls straight across and onto the racing lines. They head into turn 1 ahead of Davison as they're racing for third behind them. It's Richardson who leads through turn 1 comfortably. The field looks to have made it through cleanly so far, and now Richardson leads them up the hill as it's side by side for second place. Adam Liu with a flying start, and he needed it. After qualifying in third, he needs to try and get some positions here early in this race. Track position is crucial, and the first lap's one of the best chances to try and take it. They race towards the bus stop chicane now. It's Richardson leading over Davison. Then comes Liu, who goes wide at the chicane. He slides, he spins, he nearly takes out multiple cars involved. He nearly takes out Dalton. He does take out Dalton. 4 cars are in this wreck, a huge wreck through the carousel. And on lap 1, we have our first caution of the day. Several cars involved in that wreck, and that's what happens, folks, when a car spins in front of the field. There is not much you can do to avoid it. The caution is out, the pit lane is closed. The drivers will slow down to caution speed and get ready for the restart. But up now, we've got calming down a little bit. It now is Richardson who leads first to first on the first lap. Then comes Davison in second to second on the first lap. And then we have Thomas Pierpont 7th to 3rd. The only car that was behind Liu when he spun that didn't, well, think that joining in that crash was especially fun. He was the only driver behind Liu that wasn't involved in that wreck when Liu spun in front of the field. Niall Carrant, he's up into 4th. He started 6th, a couple of positions came for him, but Liu, you could see he's pushing hard. He needs to push hard. And it didn't work out for him this time. Pit lane will open at the end of this lap. All these drivers will get a chance to try and perhaps adjust their strategies. Most of the fuel tanks are pretty much full. So maybe only a couple of cars at the back might consider pitting, but the rest I think will be quite happy to keep that track position. Adam Richardson's got the first job done though. He showed in the season opener here that he's got great pace around this racetrack, and when he gets out front he is hard to beat. But equally in that very same race he showed that when you get stuck in traffic and you're off sequence on pit stops, you can very much get stuck in traffic and not be able to go anywhere at all. So he'll be happy that he's managed to hold the lead, but I imagine quite a lot of drivers further down the order will be very disappointed with that first lap. Around Liu. An easy mistake to make, but still one that when you're fighting with a championship sometimes you just can't afford to make. Luckily, I suppose, in a way, for him, he's... it's horrible to say, but luckily for him, he took out the second in the championship driver in that process, who's now last. So it could have gone worse. He could have lost more ground to Dalton as well. For the sake of the title fight, it's good to Dalton at the back, but for Dalton, he didn't deserve it. He did absolutely nothing wrong. He was minding his own business, avoided the crash, but in the process of avoiding it, went wide off the circuit. And when you go off the off wide at the carousel, the banking that the carousel has, the camber that gives the cars more grip, just immediately drops away when you go off the track. So he probably had to slam on the brakes to try and keep the car out of the wall. And just he's trying to sort of keep hold of that car, which is no easy thing to do in that part of the track at that speed. All of a sudden, flying cars get thrown at him for the cars that weren't able to avoid Leo in the same way that he did. And, you know, it's unfortunate for Dalton. No fault of his own. Did a great job at avoiding the wreck, as I said, but just that sometimes happens. And he's now got quite hard work on his hands. But, you know, second in the championship, 2 points off the lead. If anyone can do it, it will be him. Real chance to prove himself. But he's got some very tough opponents in this field. But, I mean, that's the same for everyone. It's such a tough field to go up against. No one's got it easy here. As we'll be green this time, the field getting ready to go back to racing speed. Richardson will lead them to green ahead of Davison and Pierpont. Got a bit of a mixed up grid backwards from the top two. Top two are where they should be. The rest, perhaps not. It's going to be an exciting restart here. Richardson up front, ahead of Davison, these two. Great rivals. Coming out of the final corner now. Richardson, when will he put his foot down? It's not yet. The field speeds up at the back, but they're not going just yet. He puts his foot down and we are green flag racing in the Formula Icon Grand Prix. It's a good jump by Richardson. He's safe as he goes into the first corner. As they're side-by-side racing in the back, that looks like Liu and Sandover that went side-by-side in the background. That was Karen that went a little bit wide, and we're already got a car around. Who is that? It's Dalton. championship, currently second of the championship, effective championship leader after today. He spins in turn 1 and he drops to the back of the field and is the first car to spin since the restart. Richardson leads at the front of the field, ahead of Davison and Pierpont as they make their way through the bus stop chicane. Will they all survive this time? A little bit wide there for Richardson, but he just about holds on. Has got cars off the road in the background. That's Niall Karen who's gone off this time, and another car. That's Sandover. 2 cars involved as Sandover nearly gets collected, but there by Dalton as Dalton goes past. But yeah, troubles here in the chicane. Liu losing a bit of time as well, but they're all just about within reach of the lead group, and just 2 cars around so far in this stint. Up front, Tyler Davison has taken the lead. I've missed that completely. Tyler Davison has taken the lead away from Adam Richardson. The Dalton Autosport driver has made the pass for the lead. I have to imagine that it would have been a slow-down penalty for Richardson, has cost him that leading position. And now he's feeling the pressure from the fast Formula Racing driver that twice this season has taken wins off in post-race after penalties. Thomas Pierpont looking for that to happen again, perhaps. He's sitting behind him at the moment, trying to get a position. But at the moment, Richardson now just needs to get back in the zone, focus down again, make sure that same mistake doesn't happen again. But I said, you know, when you're out front, it's such a big advantage here. You can't throw it away. And it would appear that's exactly what Richardson's done. Davison looking for that first win since Long Beach Grand Prix in Season 1. Here comes Tyler Davison, making his way through the final corner. He has one of the biggest gaps between race wins in NASCAR GT history, one of our other series. And now he's trying to end another duct of that, but this time in IndyCar it will be a significantly longer wait for him in IndyCar. But still, looking to try and get a good result here as he makes his way up through the S section. Long way to go, but as things go so far, it's gone quite well for him. The Briton out front in that bright yellow Pennzoil Chevrolet. The Dalton Autosport doing just what his team owner would want him to do. In second there, it's the Phoenix Motorsport driver Adam Richardson. He won NASCAR GT on Monday. As Phoenix Motorsport took maximum points, something that no team in NASCAR GT had ever done previously. For the first time, Phoenix Motorsports, without Adam Richardson being a key part of that, did just that. Today, he and Adam Liu have been looking to do the same thing in Project IndyCar, and well, they did the first thing, which was get pole position. However, in the race, you need fastest lap, first and second, if they want to do that here as well. And as things go so far, it hasn't gone well for that. As we see, that's Pierpont just brushing them all out of the final corner. Liu down in 4th, Richardson in 2nd. A long way to go though, as I said. 32 laps remain. As there we see Pierpont losing time to Richardson after that mistake in the final corner. Now sees Liu pressure him as they come up the S's. Liu, could he have a run here this time? Pierpont powering down towards the bus stop chicane. It's a tricky part of the track to make any manoeuvre in. They're going to be nose to tail as they head towards it. He covers the inside line back onto the racing line as he throws the car in at high speed. Will he keep it on the racing line? He will, just about. And there you see the effect of the dirty Liu. No matter the pace advantage, can't do anything there. So little downforce right behind another car through that high speed portion of the track. Can't do a thing. As you look back up at the front, Davison looks like he's made a mistake similar to Richardson, but as I say that, Richardson makes a mistake. He goes wide in the penultimate corner. Could that be a slowdown for him? Looks like he's kept it going as he again pushed the limits on the exit of the final corner. And he is he lifting? He is. Richardson is lifting down the main straight. He's trying to maybe serve that penalty. I'm not entirely sure if it worked or not. He's back on the pound now though. 1.1 seconds between the top two. And today could well be a day where those pesky track limits penalties could be key. They cannot afford to get themselves a track limit penalty, especially this early on. You have to lift off to avoid it. If you get that warning saying slow down to avoid a penalty, you could perhaps lose, in theory, less time by not slowing down. Because you might get a 1 second penalty but lose 3 seconds in the process of slowing down. In which case you might think, okay, just take the penalty. But if there's then a late caution, we've got a car around here. Who's that? It's Niall Karen, is it? Niall Karen's had some sort of issue, and that is now the 3rd car to have an incident in this portion of the race. Just 4 cars remain. Incident free as Liu has now got past Pierpont and up into that podium position of 3rd place. But as I was saying, yes, if there was a late caution, that was Liu who's going to have to defend here from Pierpont, the fast Formula Racing driver versus Phoenix Motorsports. Pierpont to the inside. Will he dive it late on the brakes? He will indeed. trying to keep it on the inside. Will there be contact? No, there won't. Pierpont holding it up the inside, not quite able to do anything there as he makes his way up the hill through the S's in that slipstream. What can he do? He follows Liu up the hill, puts it into 6th gear now, and he powers to the outside. Could this be a change of 3rd position again? Pierpont trying to get back up into the podium position, and he will. He's clear of the Phoenix Motorsports car as they turn in at high speed into the bus stop chicane, but Pierpont goes wide. He goes off the track. That's going to allow Liu past. They brush wheels on the exit as they head into the carousel, but Liu on the outside, he might have to lift a bit with that line, but he just about takes that position back. Brave stuff here from the pair of them, pushing the absolute limit as Evan Dalton, a driver who spun at the very first corner of this restart, has almost reeled in this group once more. Going to be tough to pass, but he's got much more of a chance now than he did a few laps ago as the top two continue to pull away out front. It's Davison and then Richardson, but a nice about 5.3 second gap from 2nd to 3rd. Liu in that position now, going to try and pull away from Pierpont and probably hope that that Dalton gets caught up behind Pierpont now and perhaps gets slowed by him in the same way that he got slowed by Pierpont, as Pierpont of course qualified 6th place on the grid, jumped up the order thanks to the incidents on lap 1, and now finds himself just trying to defend his way up the order, and well, equally try and prove that he deserves to be up the order. He's got a chance here to match the pace of the other leaders as Dalton goes very wide in the background, knocks over a few cones. The marshals won't be happy about that. Have to clear that up after the race, or perhaps under the next caution. Not ideal for them. As Dalton wide again. See, that I think that is the perfect example. He's been pushing to the maximum for the last, let's say, 5 laps after a spin. Clear air, because he spun, he was way off the back of the pack. And now, as soon as he's caught up to cars, the mistakes start to creep in. It's so easily done. When you've got that dirty air right in front of you, it hits you like just... It's like nothing you can imagine, the way that suddenly catching another car, how that affects you. It's really a strange feeling. I once experienced it at this track. I caught a car coming through the very final corner. I think it was in damp conditions, so there's quite a big pace difference. And as you go through, as we see, that might have been Niall going a bit wide there in the background. As you just approach another car, you've got that pace advantage over them, as that was Pierpont who's had a moment here, as Pierpont spun. Problem for Pierpont, he's lost 3 positions there, and that is going to bring out the next caution of the race. Caution on the racetrack. As into the pits just now came Adam Liu. Did he crucially get in the pits before the caution came out? If he did, that is absolutely brilliant. I might have to go and look at that. That was so close. I'm going to have to go check on this. How close was it? Bear with me for a second as the caution is out. The cars will be bunching up here, so I'll look at the leaders. I'll be back with you in a second after I've had a quick review of the caution situation. I don't know. I don't think I can call that. Either way, it was just looking back on it. I had said caution to you guys, you watching, but the time between me saying it and it actually being, well, let's see, can I get pits open? This pits open. Did I get that done in time? Send please. Hopefully that's worked. They should have time, shouldn't they? They're staying out. I hope that's not because I said it too late. I'm a very good league owner, as you can tell. I feel like that said it was sent. Well before they got into the final corner there. I don't know. You know what? I will again take a quick break. I'll be back with you in a moment, and we'll be right back. And we are back. Sorry about that. I just had to briefly check in with the driver to see if that pit open call was okay, because that has happened in the past where it wasn't. And I would like to do all I can to avoid that situation again. But it was all okay. So that means at the end of this lap we can go green this time and get back to racing speed here. As we just 14 laps in to a 38 lap race. But yeah, that was a strange few laps there. Apologies for the in and out commentary, but we're back and ready to go back racing. At the end of this lap we will see them get back up to speed. I don't know what I was talking about before the caution and all of that. Apologies I didn't complete what I was saying. Apologies it was important. Good chance it wasn't, let's be honest. But yeah, we're getting ready to go back racing, and Davison ahead of Richardson. Tyler Davison doing all he can here to try and help his teammate, Evan Dalton. Beating Richardson will be a big helping hand for his teammate as the field bunches up and gets ready as we're about to go back racing. The cars make their way through the final corners now. Davison pacing the field as they make their way through the final corner now. When will he go? Green flag back in the air, and we are racing again here in the Formula Icon Grand Prix. All we see any moves into Turtle 1. It looks like they're all keeping it single file for now. They throw their cars through the first corner. A couple of cars battling in the background there. That's Pierpont and Niall Caron side by side with Liu right behind them there. Pierpont in that fourth position. Liu trying to get up ahead of Caron. It's so close here. Down further in the field. Let's look at the leaders though. Will Richardson be close enough to make a move? He's 2 tenths back, but that's too far back there, as he just about keeps it on the road. A bit of a wobble there for him as he makes his way through there. He's got a car around. Is that Caron? It is. Caron's gone around on the exit of the bus stop chicane, and he has dropped to the field, and he is the first spinner of this restart. As we look back to the front of the field, side by side there at the background between Scott Sandover and Adam Liu. Liu has not had the best of restarts. He's already dropped behind Evan Dalton as they're side by side. Sandover pushed a little bit wide, and Liu is going to let him have the position, just to make sure that was all legitimate. But Sandover looks like he's going offline a little bit here. He's going to defend the inside line as they head into turn 1. He actually lets him through there. Sandover maybe has a slowdown penalty or some sort of issue there, leading to wide. He's done that. He's now gone wide in turn 1, so he definitely does now. So the field splitting up a little bit here into pairs, except sadly for Caron, who is sadly all alone at the back of the field at the moment. But then we have the pair here as well. As I say that, Sandover lifting off again here. It would appear maybe he's got some sort of issues. Is that rain falling? Is that rain falling on the circuit? As we've got issues here for Sandover. He's pulled off the road. We need to go and have a look here. Is that rain that I've just seen falling on the camera? Am I going mental? I could well be. That's a very much a real possibility. It looks dry. It's hard to tell. I thought I saw a few drops there. The sky looks pretty clear still, but I panicked for a second there. Thought that rain might be on its way. Now we see that's Pierpont coming into the pit lane. Thomas Pierpont is into the pits, and I believe he's got a penalty in the process of doing so. Thomas Pierpont is out of the race. He's been disqualified. Thomas Pierpont is out of the Formula Icon Grand Prix. Has got another car around. Who is that? That was Dalton. Dalton's got around now. He's had a problem, which now means we're up to 3 cars. Again, I'm seeing drops. Is that rain? I keep seeing drops coming down. I don't know if it's rain. Let's go back onto the roof cam. I'm not seeing anything from the onboards. Oh no, I feel like I saw something then. I think I might be going mad. I'm not sure, guys. I really hope if you... Yes, there, drops. It is raining. Rain is falling here at Watkins Glen, I can confirm. Rain is beginning to fall here. That is definitely drops of rain now beginning to fall. Now you can see it on this camera as well. Look very closely, you'll see it here and there. I'm not going mad. Rain is falling at Watkins Glen, and we're not even halfway through. What a first half of this race as we approach the halfway point. Rain already falling here at the Watkins Glen short circuit for the Formula Icon Grand Prix. Niall Caron, he's brought his car down pit lane. He might be going on to the wet tyres, could he? Bold call this early on, but perhaps it will pay off if we do have a caution soon. We're 3 cars already on this one because we've had Caron. Also, Sandover had that issue, actually, come to think of it. Sandover had a lot of time lost. So we're not going to count him, actually. I don't know what happened. I probably should. But we're not going to. I'm not sure what happened there with Sandover, nor with Pierpont, to be honest, so I'm going to call that we're at 3 at the moment, and that Sandover isn't on that list, so if he does spin, then that would be a new added to the list. As you now see, Karen just barely on the lead lap at the moment. As now we see into the pits, that is Richardson. He's known for his bold pit calls. What will he be doing here? Will he go on to the wet tyre? Will he try and predict a caution, perhaps? Now, you might be thinking, well, look, they're not changing the tyres. They're still dry tyres. Of course he's not changing them. Can't you see that? But I can sort of tell you now, the game doesn't update the tyres very quickly, if at all. It sort of depends what it feels like, I'll be honest with you. So there's a good chance that we'll be looking at a driver on clearly what looks like slick tyres with those red sidewalls, but they will be on wet. So that's something you'll just have to trust me on, or not. And if you feel like you're not gonna, that's fine. You probably may well be the correct decision. But I have to assume here that Richardson has gone into the wet tyres. He didn't desperately need fuel. That or maybe he's trying the undercut with the rain beginning to fall. Perhaps he is trying something here. Let's have a look on board with him. Let's see. Now, again, these very clearly are slick tyres. Let's see what he's like through the chicane. Now, that to me looks much slower than normal. It's been a while since I've raced, I'll be honest. As, yeah, even a big lift through here. I don't know whether that's because it's damp or because he's on wets on a dry track. I'm not entirely sure. But, yeah, this is getting interesting. Now, Davison out front on slicks. We believe Richardson and Karen both on wet. So if a caution were to come out now, which is not impossible, we would see a potential change of leader. Although at the same time saying that, it is quite possible that Davison could well lap at least Karen, as he's not that far behind him, and if the pace really isn't there at all on those wet tyres yet, he may also lap Richardson, at which point, even if everyone else pits, and Richardson and Karen's out, if they're a lap down, they do not jump to the front. They're sort of their chance that they get the lap back, but they're not allowed to then cycle round to the lead. They get to stay in the race basically, but they don't get the lead, or whatever positions they would. They restart at the back. If you gain a lap, if you are given a lap back under caution, you automatically restart at the rear no matter what. Just so that you couldn't do something like this, where you go a lap down because of pit strategy, but then get it back straight away because of a caution. We've got a very big difference in pace here. Richardson has been reeled in by Karen. I don't know if Karen has gone to the wets or not here, because he's got such a pace advantage as Richardson goes wide. Richardson could be about to go a lap down here. The driver, who was running second at one point in this race, he is about to go a lap down here. I think Karen might well be on the dries, but someone that certainly isn't is Richardson, as Davison is going to put Richardson a lap down here as they dive into turn 1. Richardson fights it, but he can't fight it. On those wets, he doesn't stand a chance, and he is now a lap down. That strategy does not look like it's paid off. A driver who has been a master of strategies in the past here in Project IndyCar. Looks like this one may not have been quite the mastery that some of his others were, as the rain is now quite clearly falling quite heavily. Davison in a league of his own, almost 10 seconds clear of the field. A brilliant lead for the Briton, for Dalton Autosport. Adam Liu in second. Would be a good day for him, I'd say, if he can get second, especially if it's behind Davison. Davison sort of quite a bit further down the championship, so not so much of a title contender. Of course, the extra 10 points would be lovely, and the crew wouldn't say no to them. But he's outscoring his main title rivals with where he's finishing, which he needs to do, given his current championship position. Just over a full race wins away, which is not impossible to close in. So he's got some work to do, but yeah, he's getting there. As we now see, that is a change up at the front, as that is Karen now also a lap down to Davison. 2 cars a lap down in this race, a 6-car race, and they're all really close on track, just not on the same lap necessarily, as it's really coming down here at this circuit. And what we see sometimes with this game is actually, with these cautions, the rain, or the rain graphic, is scheduled, like the fact that we can see rain falling, that's scheduled to happen at a certain time distance into the race based on the pace of the cars. However, the actual feeling of a wet track won't come in until a certain lap at which it's supposed to come in. I don't know if that's how it works. I could be completely making that up, and let's face it, I probably am. As we now see Davison diving for the pits. He pulls in, narrowly missed by Karen. He brakes heavily, gets it down to pit speed. No need to take risks there with his big lead. Liu, what will he do? Will he stay out or will he pit? He's got much more fuel than Davison did. Davison had to pit no matter what with his fuel at the moment. Will he go to slicks? Will he go to wets? It's a really tough situation here for Davison, and I wish I could tell you what he does. But sadly I can't, as we know. Is that Dalton going past? No, it isn't. However, crucially for this race, whilst I believe Richardson is still a lap down, and indeed he is, Terran has now got back on the lead lap. So for his sake, he's now a lead lap car. As that, you can see the spray. That's what I mean. The track now does look visibly wet. Look at that now. That's taken a lot longer to arrive than all the other symptoms of the rain. Like, you know, it falling out of the sky, as an example of one. So now the track is starting to show puddles on it, and you see that spray coming off the car. To me, that is a sign it's getting properly wet now, and I'm thinking it's starting to rain. I don't know what Niall Cameron's going to do. Is he going to pit? Is he going to stay out? It looks like he's staying out again here. This race is getting very confusing. Davison, where is he? He's making his way down the backstretch. Is that Richardson? Very close indeed it is to Dalton. Dalton and Richardson in a title fight. Let's see who has got more pace as they go through that corner. Richardson goes wide. He comes back onto the racing track. Dalton's going to dive for pit lane, as so does Liu out front. Adam Liu, was this one lap difference an advantage or a disadvantage? And also, what tyres is Davison on? Is he on the slicks or has he gone on wets? Wet, you'd imagine, would be what he would do. But at the same time, perhaps with how much grip those slicks were still showing, it might not have risked it. So he comes out of the final corner now, and where will Adam Liu be? He had a 10-second lead over him before the pit stops, and it looks like it is going to pretty much remain that way as he flies past as Liu trundles down pit lane. So does Sandover as he pulls into the pits in the background as well. This is going to at least put Richardson back on the lead lap. As Dalton stayed out, Dalton has as he spins. Evan Dalton spins, and the caution. Is it going to fly? Has Dalton already spun? Let's try and remember. It was Ducky. It was Pierpont. It was someone else. Who was it? Was it Dalton? He was down the order quite a bit. I honestly don't know. Help. I have to look back here at who... Was it Richardson that spun? I honestly don't know. I can't remember if it was Dalton or that spun. With Thomas having his issues, I can't remember, but you know what? I don't know. This is great league, great managing here from me. We're going to throw the caution here. I've decided now we're going to throw the caution. I think the pit cycle's pretty much finished, so the caution is going to come out here. I can't remember if Evan had spun or not. I'm very sorry, viewers and drivers, if I made a mistake that I can't remember if he spun or not at all. So I'm just going to have to say that he didn't. And I'm sorry to Evan, because if I'd called up the second he spun, he might would have been better off, because he was... Well, no, he wouldn't have been worse off, actually, so I was pretty glad I didn't, come to think of it. Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know on that one. Pit lane will be closed this time around. We've got a couple of lap cars to sort out, as well as the leaders. So yeah, I'm honestly not sure. Yeah, but at least now, with 6 cars left in the race, caution count will go down to 3 cars from what it was at 4. And yeah, this way it's clean slate. The Pierpont, trying to think of the previous restart. It was Niall, it was someone else, it was Thomas, and we had Scott having a weird moment, but I didn't do anything. I wasn't sure about it, so I left it. But there was one other person that spun, and I can't remember who that one other person was. I don't think it was Liu, because he was up front. Where was Richardson? Richardson, he was up front as well. So it could well have been Evan. It could have been Evan. Or it was... Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I'm sorry. It's been a good few weeks away. We'll see how many complaints I get, and we'll base it off of that on how well I did today. Apologies if I have made a mistake there. Hopefully I haven't. But yeah, the pit lane, pit lane will be open this time, because was Richardson like... Oh, I'm stupid. Was Richardson lead lap? Bear with me. Honestly, I can't remember, so I'm going to let Richardson catch back up as well. Leave it one more lap before we open the pits, just to be safe. Bit of a chaotic return to racing. I apologise for that. But yeah, it's been a while off. I feel like I and maybe some of the drivers have a bit dazed by returning to racing, but we'll be all right. We've got a long way to go. As it is now wet in this race, we should already know who's got fastest lap, and that will tell us whether or not Phoenix have a chance of getting the next most points in a race, and they don't. Davison with a fast lap by a long way there, so he will be the driver who takes home that point, so that means that Phoenix can't get maximum points. Where is... Okay, everyone's bunched up, so pit's open now. Now I'm really hoping either everyone stays out or everyone pits, so that I don't have to go back and work out when the caution came out who was lead lap, who wasn't. I can now understand why NASCAR and IndyCar have a big team of people and it takes them laps and laps to figure out where everyone was and who was doing what. Because I am on my own, commentating as well as being race director. So yeah, and equally shorter races mean got less time to sort things out, and everyone has stayed out, thankfully. So that's made my life much easier. Thank you very much, drivers. Appreciate that. Also shows everyone is on the wet tyre. That or they're crazy. As we get ready to go back racing here, we will be racing again at the end of this lap. Davison leading this field now, getting ready for the restart. Very different conditions to what he's used to out front. The rain making it much, much trickier, I'd imagine, and perhaps changes who's quicker and who isn't. Leave in that second position. If he has the pace advantage in the wet, this could be a chance for him to try and take the fight to Davison out front. Dalton up into third now, trying to make something happen. Most likely going to lead the championship after today. We've got a spin, Sandover in the wall and will drop to the rear for the restart, sadly, as they make their way towards the final couple of corners before the restart. Davison is pacing the field. He's getting ready as the flagman awaits. Davison weaving, getting ready for the restart. And he puts the foot down, and green flag's in the air. Tyler Davison, what a good jump to this race. As we've got, it looks like Karen and Richardson side by side in the background. Liu, though, immediately looking to try and capitalise on this restart. Just 2 tenths behind Davison as they climb up the hill. They climb through the puddles, through the spray. There can't be much grip out there on that racetrack. He certainly doesn't look it from up here. Davison leads this race ahead of Liu. A big gap back to Dalton. Then we have Karen and Richardson racing into the bus stop in wet conditions. What could possibly go wrong? Richardson, is he going to get that position? He slides, he skates over the curb, but he's got up a position there. He defends the inside line going through the carousel. That could give Karen a chance to fight back as they skate their way out of there now. And look at that. Oh, it's a spin again. Sandover spins in the background, and that is our first one under green flag racing to have a spin. As I believe Richardson perhaps had a slow down penalty there, which is why he had to let Ducky through. Niall Curran, sorry, he's PSN Ducky. Yeah, up at the front, it is Tyler Davison, the driver, looking to get his first win in a very long time here in Project IndyCar. What can he do in these damp and tricky conditions? A real test of a driver. The DRTS slightly less bad in these conditions, still very much there, but the pace difference can often be bigger in these conditions, which allows the DRTS to seem less, I think. But yeah, we'll have a quick look. When did Tyler last win in Project IndyCar? Let's go into the archives of the series. And we have to go all the way back to Season 1, where I helpfully didn't put a date on the race. Wonderful job. So we're going to have to go back into the archives even further. Oh my, the archives are long. Where are the archives? There they are. As the gap now is just under half a second. I could be jinxing him here, as we do then see Liu go wide on the exit curb. As let's see, the race was on the 27th of January last year, so nearly a year ago. Davison won last in this league. Will he have to wait more than a year, or will he do it just before then? Got another attempt between now and then, maybe another 2 attempts, maybe another 3. I'm good at maths, aren't I? This isn't his last attempt to try and get more than 1 win in a year, but it's getting perhaps tighter and tighter, and with some of the races and the championship fight heating up, it's going to be a tougher and tougher ask to win races here. As Richardson, he's dropped back a lot, so I'm assuming he's spun as well here, so we've got 2 cars around already, which means we're 1 away from a caution. Tarrant running in that 4th position behind Dalton. Dalton not having the best of fun out there in these conditions. His teammate out front, though, doing him a favour. As we see Liu pressuring Davison for the lead. Liu, I'd have to say at the moment, looks perhaps the better in these conditions, but he goes wide in the final corner, which could well be a slowdown penalty. If it isn't, he's got lucky on that one, as he pressures Davison into the first corner. You can see it just looks perhaps a little bit more comfortable from Liu at the moment. He's got a little bit more pace. And the only reason I say that is because he's staying close, which, as we've seen previously, just being able to stay that close is a huge, huge ask, and shows a demonstration of how much of a pace advantage you have. Let's see, can he keep it up or not? Will this is there some mistakes perhaps creeping into some drivers' races here? I'll have to wait and see, as Davison continues to control this race out front, but still with another 5 laps left at the end of this one, it is not over yet. For those of you wondering when the last moment for a caution to come out is, that would be at the end of the final sector of the start of the final sector on lap 35, as Liu beats himself on that curb again. It's another mistake there from Adam Liu, and that's going to cost him some time. One in the final corner as well, he brushes the wall. That's not going to help him either, and that gap is over a second. I said mistakes might start to creep in, and that appears to be exactly what's happening here. As Liu makes a few here and there, the gap's still under a second, but if he wants to win this race, he can't make any more mistakes now. He has to rely on Tyler making a few, and Tyler, not known for his mistakes, when he gets out front, he usually doesn't look back. At the moment, that gap just under 0.8 of a second. Liu looking the stronger of the two in these conditions, especially through there as he gains huge time through the bus stop. But at the moment, Davison has that one thing that Liu doesn't have, and that of course is the track position, the race lead. The gap now 0.7 of a second. Liu pressuring, pushing the limits. Will he keep it on the road this time through here? He cannot beat his car on that curb, and he does avoid it this time, and you can see the time that he gains thanks to that. The gap 0.3 of a second, back up to 0.7. That gap fluctuating a lot, partly just because it's fluctuating, partly because the game doesn't have a very reliable timing system. As now we see Liu pushing all the way to the finish here, but he pushes too far. Could that be track limits there for Liu? Could he be called on that? I don't know. It looks like he's keeping it flat for now. May well have gotten away with one there. He pushes, he pushes, he pushes. The gap, 0.7 of a second, looking to try and get the win. Tyler Davison, for the first time since January of 2020, he's leading this race. Can he take the victory? It's been a long time coming. He's came close several times this season. The pace has been there on several occasions. Just the overall luck and the situation hasn't been on his side. Today, it may well just be Tyler Davison. No more cautions in this race. All he has to do is keep it on the road. Which is easier said than done, I must admit, in these conditions, but sounds perhaps simpler than it is. Tyler Davison has 3 more laps between him and his first win since the 27th of January 2022 as Liu very wide in turn 1. Surely that's going to be a call for track limits there. I'd be amazed if it isn't. As we look at push to passes, they're completely equal, so no real advantage to be gained there for either driver. But Davison continuing to lead this race. Is he unstoppable here at this point? With just 2 more laps after this one. 2 laps and a half remaining, sorry. Not long now. The Pennzoil Chevrolet Dalton Auto Sport driver, he makes his way down the back straight. Liu will be doing absolutely everything he can to try and take this lead away. He knows how important those 10 points he would gain would be in this championship fight, which has been oh so close throughout the entire season. Liu and Davison, two drivers who we know are truly brilliant behind the wheel of a Project IndyCar. They're doing all they can to win this race, but only one of them can. Davison continues to lead ahead of Liu, and he seems to be starting to stretch his legs perhaps here. The gap, 6 tenths, hasn't got too close for a while now, but we know one small error, one snap of oversteer, one shock of understeer, a puddle that's just slightly in the wrong position, all of those little things, just one of them, and that could change everything here. Davison in control though. You see the spray, the water that's coming off of these cars. These conditions are treacherous. But the Dalton Autosport driver of Davison is out front and in control. Liu beaches himself on the curb again. Could that be his chance at the win gone? Davison is going to lead them to the white flag now. 1 lap remaining here in this race. It's Tyler Davison who leads them down into turn 1 for the final time today. Adam Liu pushing, doing all he can. The gap just over 6 tenths of a second. Make that 7 tenths. And it's going to drop as they come up the hill in the slipstream, giving Liu that helping hand. But now, is he just too far back as they make their way down towards the bus stop chicane? A very, very tricky part of this racetrack. He keeps it online, just has to measure himself, make sure that he doesn't make any mistakes here. Can't make a single error. The gap now, just half a second, as they make their way through the high-speed carousel. 2 corners remain here. 2 corners between Tyler Davison and his first win since January of 2022. Make that 1 corner remaining. Tyler Davison turns it in to the final corner of the race. The gap, it's big enough. The fuel is going to make it, and Tyler Davison wins the Formula Icon Grand Prix for Dalton Autosport. What a drive, what a race, and what a win. Tyler Davison, take a bow. You are, once again, a Project IndyCar race winner, and Adam Liu, he did all he could. In the end, second place was not a bad result, as Niall Kerrin has actually taken the podium. Oh, no, I don't know whether that's accurate or not, whether that timing's correct or not, actually. But we'll have to wait and see what the official results say as the final couple of cars finish this race. You see Scott Sandover and Adam Richardson pushing all the way here. They're going to be side by side all the way. Richardson up into 5th position. Is there a problem there for Sandover? He appears to have some sort of issue with his car as he struggles through the final couple of corners. Richardson is going to take 5th position here. Crucially, solid day here for him. It's not at all what he would have wanted, but it's points, and that's more than some can say here. A track that's proven to be very tricky over time, and indeed it is. It's a maiden podium. Niall Kerrin, he's on the podium. The Irishman does it here today in the Formula Icon Grand Prix. They are your results from today. Tyler Davison taking 51 points home. Adam Liu manages 40. 35 go to Niall Kerrin. 32 go to Evan Dalton. 31 go to Adam Richardson. 28 to Scott Sandover, and 26 will go to the driver that didn't finish, which of course is Thomas Pierpont. Not his day today, sadly, but in the end, that's how it goes sometimes. Congratulations, Tyler Davison. You won what was a very exciting race there. We did not know what was going to happen until the very end, and well done to Adam Liu. You pushed so hard every single lap, so well done to you too. And Niall Kerrin, your first podium in Project IndyCar, and well, if there ever was a race where you really had to have the raw talent to prove and show that sort of you're just a great driver and that perhaps you're not used to the cars or not used to the tracks, that was a race where it just came down to driver, who was behind the wheel. And Niall Kerrin got his first podium in those conditions, so very well done to him. Thank you all for watching. It's been a long break since the last race, but don't worry, next week we'll be back with the next round of the Project IndyCar season. But until then, goodbye.